This is the Troll Patrol. Live. With Justin. FREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol. Live. It's a freaking Friday. Apparently there was some other dude here last night yelling about Patriot Patrol or some shit. I can't believe you fucks actually like that. I had a good response. Me acting like a damn fool. Saying stupid shit. If you subscribe to me on Patreon at the $5 level, you can hear the thing that I said last night that caused me to have to take down my live stream for the very first time, make an edit, and put it back up. You can watch all of last night's episode with about a 30-second chunk taken out of it. You can see that full clip in its entirety if you subscribe on Patreon at the $5 level. I don't recommend it. I said something incredibly horrendous. Now, in my defense, I was pretending to be a dumb fuck right-winger and saying something that I thought a dumb fuck right-winger would say. There were people watching this stream. Now there's nobody watching. It's like they saw the Easter background and they got the fuck out of here. Gee, thanks. In case you can't tell, I like themes. I like dressing my show up for the different holidays. I don't really decorate around the house. I celebrate my own way. But I like making graphics and putting fucking troll hair on rabbits and Santa Clauses and leprechauns and shit. Gonna run out of holidays that I get to gussy up because we are coming up on our 1-year anniversary. 420 just days away. The 1-year anniversary spectacular of the Troll Patrol. I've got so many surprises in store. We are going to come on the air at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. We are going to celebrate 420 all across the nation. 420 Eastern Time, 420 Central Time, 420 Mountain Time. Producer Dave will join us at some point in time. The media winch will be here. I've got some shocking surprises up my sleeve. Yes, I'm back. Apparently there was some other dude here last night saying some crazy shit that'll get us all banned from Twitch and YouTube. And if you want to hear what that was, subscribe to me at the $5 level on Patreon. You can hear exactly what I said last night. I can't believe that I got such a positive response to the Patriot Patrol, with one person even saying you should make this a regular thing. I don't know that I could do a whole show like that. I've oftentimes wondered if I could even go and be a right winger if I wanted to. If I wanted to sell out. Because that's the thing. There was a very good video by Kyle Kalinske and what's her name on Rising? Crystal Ball and She-One Head. They were doing a thing about do YouTube personalities actually believe what they say? And when it comes to right-wingers, no, they don't. She was cool. I believe in everything. It is my unvarnished opinion. I've been dying I have been in the media business for 20 fucking years, and I've wanted to give my uncensored, unedited, unvarnished opinion, and that is what goes on here on the Troll Patrol. Apparently Vosh had some sort of debate with a Korean and was incredibly rude to her. That will never happen here. I will only be a dickwad people that deserve being a dickwad. People come to debate me in good faith. We will always treat them with respect. I make that promise to you. Warlord, good evening, my friend. Starting off tonight, I was wrong, and that's another thing. When I am wrong, I do not give a shit to admit it. I was wrong earlier today. When we were doing the live stream about the person who rammed their car into a barricade outside of the Capitol, I speculated that 1, they were probably white. 2, we don't know if they're white or not. But apparently they were a believer in the Nation of Islam. So I was wrong about that. I speculated that they were probably a dumb fuck QAnon patriot. And I was incorrect on that. Let's get the update. Get the deets here. A U.S. Capitol police officer was killed and another injured after a man drove a car into a security barricade at the Capitol complex on Friday. The driver was shot after jumping out of the car with a knife and failing to respond to verbal commands and lunging at the officers. The suspect was taken to a hospital and pronounced dead a short time later. 4 senior law enforcement officials briefed on the investigation identified the suspect as a 25-year-old man from Indiana named Noah Green. The fallen officer was identified as William Evans, who was known as Billy. Evans was an 18-year veteran of the Capitol Police and a member of the Capitol Division's First Responders Unit. The extent of the injuries to the second officer were not clear. The Capitol Police said in a statement early Friday evening that the officer is in stable and non-life-threatening condition. Pittman said, "I just ask that the public continue to keep the U.S. Capitol Police and their families in your prayers." Robert Conti, acting chief of the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department, said that his department would take over the investigation and it does not appear to be terrorism related. Law enforcement sources said Green recently lived in Virginia. In postings on social media, he let his friends and family know that the past few years have been tough. In the past few months, tougher. I am currently now unemployed after I left my job partly due to afflictions, but ultimately in search of a spiritual journey, he wrote on his now deleted Facebook page. Green's page featured several recent postings that reference the teachings of the Nation of Islam, a black separatist movement that does not follow the traditional teachings of Islam, and its leader, Louis Farrakhan. The Nation of Islam has been classified as a designated hate group by the SPLC because what they call deeply racist, anti-Semitic, and anti-LGBT rhetoric of its leaders. The postings do not indicate why Green, who is black, another thing I was wrong about, but also, in my defense on that one, I said if they took him alive, that would be an indication that he's white. He died. So I was only half wrong on that. Postings do not indicate why Green would target the Capitol. He posted about the end times in one post, and in another on March 17th warned about the last days of our world as we know it. Green's final post on Facebook for March 21st was a YouTube video called The Crucifixion of Michael Jackson, a 150-minute sermon in which Farrakhan defends Michael Jackson. For those of you who don't know, I was the biggest fanatical fan of Michael Jackson ever growing up. I believe he diddled some kids. I'll still listen to him. He diddled. That made somebody leave. The stream. Bet I know who it was too. You don't like it when I I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. I'll talk to her about Michael Jackson, but man, like she don't like the fact that I think he did it. What? Can't believe I did what? Brought up Michael Jackson? Conti and Pittman said at a news conference about 2 hours after the attack that the suspect was not someone previously known to their departments. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland said later Friday that the FBI's Washington field office would be assisting the Metropolitan Police Department. The attempted breach happened at the North Barricade vehicle access point around 1 p.m. Eastern. Officials said the Capitol complex was locked down for about 2 hours after the incident, and apparently the video is rather freaky, so let's check it out. This is what it was like inside the Capitol when it went on lockdown.
I repeat, due to an exterior security threat, no entry or exit is permitted at this time in any building of the Capitol complex. You may move throughout the buildings, but stay away from exterior windows and doors.
This is the scene of troops mobilizing. The wild scene this afternoon, directly after a car did slam into a barricade outside of the Capitol building. The car has been removed now. They towed it away about an hour or so ago. Capitol complex was on lockdown for about 2 hours this afternoon. There you see the footage of the car. Had to be going at a pretty high rate of speed. But also, it's kind of hard to get up to that kind of speed right there. So, a young black man who subscribed to the Nation of Islam tried to ram the North Barricade vehicle access around 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. This is Noah Green. The suspect, he had a knife. He jumped out after he rammed the barricade. Two officers were struck. One was killed. Another officer is stable condition. I think maybe, okay, so 2 officers were injured. I don't know if one was injured by being struck by the vehicle or if we know that one was injured by the knife. I don't know which one died. It doesn't appear, earlier today I speculated that it was some, dumb fuck patriot wannabe. I was clearly wrong. He's posted about the Nation of Islam, but we have no indication what his motive might have been. Media Winch, are you familiar with the Matt Gaetz story? I know you and I talked about it after it first happened. Have you got a update on it? The developments just keep coming in. Apparently, he will be arrested imminently. This is according to a report from the Daily Mail. Of course, it's the Daily Mail, so I have to keep closing out ads. Well, we're getting ready to get the update. His friends have been singing to the feds. That's why Matt is so freaked out. Gaetz' arrest is imminent as jailed tax collector Joel Greenberg faces charges of having sex with the same 17-year-old and making fake IDs with the congressman. The investigation into Matt Gaetz is linked to his friendship with Joel Greenberg, a Florida tax collector currently in jail awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. It emerged Tuesday that Gaetz is under investigation by the DOJ over allegedly having sex with a girl 17 2 years ago. Further allegations surfaced Thursday, claiming Gaetz had paid for sex with a woman who Greenberg allegedly met on a sugar daddy website. The 17-year-old girl at the center of the sex trafficking probe is the same girl Greenberg has accused of sex trafficking. A new report Friday revealed that Gaetz caught the attention of investigators after he was seen accompanying Greenberg during a late-night visit to a tax office. Greenberg is charged with identity theft after allegedly making fake IDs. Gaetz, who has not been charged with any crimes yet, is expected to be indicted within the next few weeks. Greenberg, who was the elected Seminole County tax collector in 2016, is currently in jail awaiting trial after being slapped with a string of charges last year, including sex trafficking a minor between the age of 14 and 17. Gaetz, 38, has furiously denied the allegations, instead insisting they are part of an alleged $25 million extortion plot led by former Justice Department official David McGee. But sources familiar with the matter say Gaetz's claims are just an attempt to divert attention from his connection to Greenberg as the investigation closes in on him. Roger Stone was in on this. Goddamn. So here's Greenberg, Gaetz, Roger Stone. That makes perfect sense. If you're not aware, Roger Stone is a gigantic perv. And if you were not aware of that, you can go and find video of Roger Stone telling you what a gigantic perv Roger Stone is. The congressman impugned and damaged the reputation of someone who has had nothing to do with this, the source told Daily Mail. Gaetz is a sleazebag who used a professional with a sterling reputation to divert the attention on a sex investigation focused on him. Rest assured that Greenberg has been singing to the feds about his friend Matt Gaetz. That is why Matt is so freaked out. Gaetz's arrest is said to be imminent after the alleged victim, who has not been named, testified before a Florida grand jury this week, saying she had sex with the conservative Republican before she turned 18. I'm betting this is the girl that Tucker had dinner with. The investigation into Gaetz first spiraled from a probe into Greenberg, who was indicted last summer on 14 felony charges, including child sex trafficking. Sources told the outlet Greenberg was caught on surveillance footage visiting a tax collection office in Lake Mary, Florida, where he was allegedly making fake IDs with another man revealed to be Gaetz. This was over a weekend in April last year. The following Monday, an employee arrived to find the alarm had not been activated and a number of driver's licenses were scattered over a manager's desk. According to the report, the IDs, which are stored in the office after expiring, are usually kept in a disposal bin to be destroyed. The strange findings prompted the employee to review the camera footage and report it to the office boss, who later contacted Greenberg. When asked if he had visited the office over the weekend, he replied, "Yes, I was showing Congressman Gaetz what our operation looked like. Did I leave something on?" Another text message conversation from September showed Greenberg had also asked an employee to make a duplicate ID for Gaetz rather than go through the appropriate channels. "Amy, is there any way to assist one of our congressmen in getting an emergency replacement ID or driver's license by Tuesday 2 p.m.? His was lost yesterday and he's got a flight Tuesday. Doesn't have any other form of ID currently on him. Sorry to bother you on Sunday." When the employee asked for the person's name and date of birth, he replied, "Matthew Lewis Gaetz II, born May 7th, 1982. Footage of the 2018 visit to the office. Okay, I was wrong. I said last year. This was 2018. So goddamn, this investigation has been going on for a while. Footage of the 2018 visit to the office has not been publicly released, as officials said security videos are only stored for 60 days. Federal prosecutors have accused Greenberg of using his position to take surrendered driver's licenses before they were shredded. Those licenses were later used to create fake IDs. Gates was reportedly first introduced to the woman through Greenberg, who investigators believe met the woman through sugar daddy websites, including Seeking Arrangement, where rich men pay women in gifts, travel, fine dining, and allowances in exchange for going on dates with them. Greenberg then introduced the woman to Gates, who allegedly also had sex with them. Receipts from the mobile payment app Cash App and Apple Pay show both Gates and Greenberg sent payments to one woman, and Greenberg sent a payment to a second woman, the Times reported. Sources said the woman said the payments had been for sex with Gates and Greenberg. Another person said the men also sometimes paid in cash. The tryst took place in 2019 and 2020, according to the Times. The two men were pictured together on social media with Roger Stone, who was convicted of lying to Congress in 2017. Gates denies ever having paid anyone for sex and has not yet been charged with any crime.
But as we get the
So, President Biden, speaking about his infrastructure bill earlier today, took a few shots at
back
our
on his feet,
the other guy, as he likes to refer to him.
we need to do the hard work of building back better, for good, for not just for a while, but for good, not just the short term, but for good. That's why I proposed the American Jobs Plan on Wednesday in Pittsburgh. It's an 8-year program that invites, and let me put it another way. I've heard from everyone
Biden already
all
checked
across
out
the
for
country
Easter.
about the need for infrastructure. How many times have we heard this is infrastructure week the last 4 years? About every second week was infrastructure week, but no infrastructure was built. Well, this is an 8-year program that invests in our roads.
Remember that time Trump got into the big truck and he was all excited? He's driving the truck like a little kid.
Roads, our bridges, broadband, airports, ports.
I believe that was infrastructure
our water
week.
systems. It's going to repair our VA hospitals across the country. Many of them are more than 50 years old and are in real need of help. It will invest in research and development to outcompete China and the rest of the world. Independent analysis shows that if we pass this plan, the economy will create 19 million jobs. Good jobs, blue-collar jobs, jobs that pay well.
The jobs report coming out today looked
That's
incredibly
long-term
good for Joe
jobs
Biden.
for pipe fitters, healthcare workers, those
But I mean, while those numbers look good, that's still just adding jobs back that it shed last year through the lockdowns. You know, let's be honest.
who work in the steel factories and the cutting-edge labs as well. The new
There's going to be
report
plenty of
out
opportunity
this
for
week shows
growth
that
in the next year or two.
90% of the infrastructure jobs created in the American Jobs Plan can be filled by people who don't have a college degree. 75% of those good-paying jobs don't need a associate's degree. It's a blue-collar blueprint for increasing the opportunity for people. This is an economic opportunity of those who've helped build the country and have been ignored or neglected for much too long by our government. It's a once-in-a-generation investment in our economic future, a chance to win the future, paid for by asking big corporations, many of which do not pay any taxes at all, just to begin to pay their fair share. And it won't raise a penny tax on a family making less than $400,000 a year. No federal tax. No addition. When Congress comes back after this Easter break, I'm going to begin meeting with Democrats, Republicans.
I didn't know it was Easter.
I've spoken to Republicans on the phone. I'm going to be looking forward to meeting with them. They all have their ideas about.
I got my Easter bonnet on.
What they like and what they don't like. That's a good thing. That's the American way. Debate is welcome. Compromise is inevitable. Changes in my plan are certain. But inaction is not an option. The American people have been promised action and infrastructure for decades. They've been promised that after our leaders would take our country and make it more competitive for decades. I've made my plan to address this long overdue need, and it's clear. Polls already show strong support for infrastructure investment from the American people, whether they're Democrats, Republicans, or Independents. Congress should debate my plan, change it, and offer alternatives if they think that's what they have to do. But Congress should act.
Debate them like they're a
But as we get the economy back on its
political
feet,
Twitch commentator. All right, so down in Georgia, Republicans are a little pissed off. We talked about Delta. We talked about Coca-Cola. The legislator in Georgia is fighting back. Georgia's new legislation on voting has sparked a backlash from corporations based in the state. Now, legislatures are exacting revenge against one of the companies which spoke out. The Georgia House of Representatives, by a narrow margin, voted to revoke a tax break for Delta. The airline has been getting tax relief on jet fuel from the Peach State. Now, for one, I'm for revoking subsidies and tax breaks for corporations. However, this is just the Republicans showing that they do not legislate based on public policy and what is in the public interest. It's them showing that they use public policy and lawmaking to reward their sycophants. According to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, State House Speaker David Ralston admitted that the reason for the move was because of Delta's opposition to Georgia's election legislation. They like our public policy when we're doing things that benefit them, Ralston said. Yeah, they do. They do when you're doing things to benefit them. You're doing something that's not benefiting them. That's not benefiting them right now. Or at least benefiting their public relations image. Ralston went on to say, you don't feed a dog that bites your hand. You got to keep that in mind sometimes. After initially abstaining from weighing in on the Georgia legislation, Delta CEO Ed Bastian came out strongly against it in an internal memo obtained by the New York Times. After having time to now fully understand all that is in the bill, coupled with discussions with leaders and employees in the black community, it's evident that the bill includes provisions that will make it harder for many underrepresented voters, particularly black voters, to exercise their constitutional right to elect their representatives. That is wrong. Now, one of the things I love that the Republicans did with this bill, not that I actually like the bill or anything. No. They actually extended the early voting dates by 1 day in both the primary and the general election. So they can say they expanded voting. They limited voting in a hell of a lot of other ways, including absentees, mail-ins, drop boxes, all that good shit. But they extended early voting 1 day just so that they could say, because I had somebody throw that at me, and I'm like, what? I went and looked it up. Yes, they did. They added 1 day to early voting, and that's just so they could have the camouflage, something to hide behind. No, we expanded voting. Fucking these motherfuckers. They know what they're doing. The new election law, signed into law by Governor Brian Kemp, has come under heavy criticism for restricting voting access by, among other things, reducing the number of drop boxes in areas with large African American populations, tightening the deadlines for absentee ballots, and introducing new registration requirements. the retribution against Delta, and once again, this legislation is retribution against the people of Georgia for electing 2 Democratic senators and for voting for Joe Biden. That's all it is. This is the Republican legislature of Georgia lashing out against their own voters. It's absurd. And now retribution against Delta may not necessarily hold, as it must also pass the state Senate. Despite that chamber being under Republican control, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reports that state Senate leaders are more lukewarm about the measure. I'm sure because they want those corporate dollars. There's something going on in Georgia, like the smaller House races, a little bit easier to raise money for. Now, Jen Psaki was asked, we did the video last night, and that's what I got in trouble for. If you didn't hear it, the full clip, it's censored on YouTube. You can go look at the clip. The full clip, the unedited, uncensored, I put on BitChute, but you would have to subscribe. Patreon, $5 to find out what I said last night. But it's the same argument all the right-wingers are making. It's comparing, Delta wants to get upset about the Georgia voting law, but they'll do business in China. Jen Psaki was asked that question earlier today.
The president had voiced his support for MLB making a decision about the All-Star game in Georgia. I'm wondering, when can we expect a final determination?
Now, the MLB has indeed agreed this afternoon they are moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta.
The president about the United States participating in the Beijing Olympics, given that he said the Chinese president doesn't have a democratic bone in his body.
Well, I think the U.S. Olympic Committee would play a big role in
on Major League Baseball here in the United States.
He actually didn't. I don't know if you heard the answer that happened a few minutes ago, where we addressed this, and I answered the question. So, and I give a little more context, but maybe you weren't paying attention to that part.
Whoa. Well, that's what I get for getting a right-wing source on this. So I wonder what she said before. Damn it. Find out. Yes, if you haven't noticed, I am banned on Twitter. What the? Oh. That explains a lot. Okay. I wonder if it was a Peter Ducey here, because he's asking about the legacy of the
he defended
Jim Crow
the
era.
filibuster and said altering Senate rules to help one political fighter or another could become.
No, we're talking about the filibuster there. Create a Biden Easter scandal. I didn't even know. Hold on, we're gonna. Biden Easter. Okay, I don't. This is that same clip.
I'll be making a decision about the All-Star game.
I want to see what she said before, because that's. I mean, if she'd already given the context. See, I want to be fair. Right-wingers are never fair. I go on Ben Martin's show on Man Up Monday. He sure as fuck doesn't man up. Cuts me off. They want to dominate the conversation. Do you know how many right-wingers I've been blocked by this week? Talk about cancel culture. Don Jr. weighing in on the
Delta.
Get woke, go broke, he says. Talking about the whole Delta Coca-Cola Georgia voting law.
Get woke, go broke. Delta Airlines is learning the hard way not to bite the hand that feeds, so to speak.
I'm going to update his little slogan for him. Do coke, go broke.
Delta Airlines came out this week with this sort of vicious statement about the new voting laws in Georgia. The CEO started attacking it, being all woke. So Georgia Republicans voted to cancel this big tax break plan that they were working on for Delta.
They voted to what? They voted to what, Don Jr.? They voted to what? They voted to cancel. Cancel? I thought you hated cancel culture. I don't know how many videos I played of you bemoaning the concept of cancel culture, sir. Can I please find a right-winger with just an ounce of intellectual consistency?
Because Delta's criticizing their bill. But what's even more ironic is that Delta literally praised the bill. Tom Cotton points out in a tweet, Delta made a statement saying Delta believes that full and equal access to voting is fundamental right of all citizens. Over the past several weeks, Delta engaged extensively with state elected officials in both parties to express our strong view that Georgia must have free, fair, and secure election process with broad voter participation and equal access to the polls. The legislation signed this week improved considerably during the legislative process and expands weekend voting, codifies Sunday voting, and protects voters' ability to cast an absentee ballot without providing a reason. For the first time, drop
in the fuck Delta anyway, fuck any fucking company. But in his defense, he did indeed say, after having time to look at it, that was his statement. We just read it after reflecting on it or whatever the fuck. So clearly he was acknowledging that he had changed his mind on it. But that's what, Don Jr. disingenuous on right-wingers because they know nobody's going to go fuck, or at least their audience isn't going to go and actually read the statement by the guy.
Boxes have also been authorized for all counties statewide, and poll workers will be allowed to work across county lines. Nonetheless, we understand concerns remain over other provisions in the legislation, and there continues to be work.
And even acknowledges there's concerns in other provisions of the legislation.
Work ahead in this important effort. We are committed to continuing to listen to our people and our communities and engage with leaders from both parties to ensure every eligible employee and Georgia voter can exercise their right to vote. So that's from Delta CEO Ed Bastian on Friday. Then they come out today getting really woke, attacking it. So Georgia Republicans finally do the right thing and say, enough of.
I always thought woke meant that you were on the identity politics issue, about gender and shit. What does woke, if you're pressuring a business through public pressure, isn't that just capitalism? How is that woke? Is it because they've claimed that the law is racist? Oh, he is absolutely obnoxious. It has lost all meaning. What does woke even mean? I honestly, probably the first time I heard it, it was making fun of these gurus. There's one in GTA 5. The yoga guru. He was woke. I don't even know when it became like, you know, they started painting the girls with the pink hair and shit. That meme as woke.
Of this nonsense, right? There seems to be a big cottage industry of going really woke, even though it doesn't benefit. Why? Because Georgia wanted to have some stuff as it relates to IDs to...
Notice this down here. Marco Rubio slams woke corporate hypocrites. And they're all talking about it's the same thing. They're all on the same page. They're all saying China. And they're all talking about the border. That's the two things they have honed in on that they think they can win on. It does us no good to try to make sense out of right-wingers because they are fucking morons. Speaking of Georgia voting, remember when they arrested a lawmaker for knocking on Governor Kemp's door when he was signing that abhorrent bill? Georgia State Rep Park Cannon, who was arrested last week after attempting to gain access to the office where Governor Brian Kemp was signing a controversial voting restriction bill into law, said Thursday that her actions were justified. I felt as if time was moving in slow motion, Cannon said, fighting back tears as she described the details of the incident. My experience was painful both physically and emotionally, but today I stand before you to say, as horrible as the experience was, I believe the governor signing into law the most comprehensive voter suppression bill in the country is a far more serious crime. It was the first time Cannon had spoken publicly about the incident since her arrest. Video of her knocking on the door to Kemp's office before being forcibly removed by police went viral on social media, drawing further attention to the new restrictions on voting. Probably a good thing. Flanked by a handful of supporters and fellow Democratic lawmakers at the base of a mural, civil rights icon John Lewis, Cannon described the law as a voter suppression bill. Republicans say the law's stricter requirements will ensure that future Georgia elections will be more secure, but Democrats contend it was designed to suppress the elderly and black vote and was written in direct response to GOP losses in the 2020 presidential election. How could it not be? Cannon is now facing 2 felony charges from last week's arrest: obstruction and preventing or disrupting a General Assembly session, according to the Fulton County Department of Public Safety website. 2 felony charges for knocking on the governor's door. She's a fucking lawmaker. She told reporters Thursday that she is facing 8 years in prison for those charges, which she called unfounded. Georgia Attorney General Christopher Carr did not respond to a request from Yahoo News for comment for this story. Park's attorneys say the Democratic legislator is now raising money for her legal defense. On a GoFundMe page titled I Stand With Park. Hold on. I Stand With Park. Fundraiser by Ross Cannon on GoFundMe. Fuck, my GoFundMe was connected to my Facebook, which now no longer exists. Can I sign in with email? Telling me to sign in with my Facebook account. I'm going to donate to her legal fund, which absolutely should not be necessary. Again, this is Cannon Park. I'm sorry, Park Cannon, a Georgia state representative. My new password must be 12 characters or more. This is I fucked it all up. I've got to come back to this. This is too much. Exactly. The entire right-wing media would be incredibly freaked out. And that's what... Why are people not all over the news screaming this right now? There needs to be more high-profile Democrats taking up her cause. Anyway, I'm going to donate to her GoFundMe after we get off the air because I gotta straighten out my account because fucking Facebook nuked my account and everything was tied to it. Representative Park Cannon, the GoFundMe is called I Stand with Park. I stand with Park. If you have it to give, go donate. He shouldn't have to. Goddamn have to raise money for a legal fund. And how in the fuck are there still charges? How does the state attorney general not just laugh his fucking ass off and throw it out? How is it even a thing? I hate it here. What the fuck is wrong with this country? Right until she came up to the door. The moment she knocked on the door, they grabbed her. She absolutely should sue for wrongful arrest. 2 goddamn felonies. 2 goddamn felonies. For knocking on a door. That is a violation of the First Amendment if I've ever seen one. Where are those right-wingers bitching about cancel culture? That is the government imprisoning somebody with the express intent of silencing them. Tell me I'm wrong. But no, right-wingers don't actually believe in the Constitution. They wrap themselves in the flag. They act like they're patriots. They are not. The actual definition of political prisoner. To a T. I'm surprised some fucking human rights organization hasn't condemned it. Not only her in Georgia, next door, the data scientist arrested for telling the real numbers about COVID. Where'd my country gone? It is not freedom. Also in Georgia, a high school senior was fatally shot by her friend during target practice. A small community in rural Georgia is mourning the death of a high school senior after she was killed in an apparently accidental shooting on Tuesday. Candace Shans, 17, was shot and killed Tuesday at about 8 p.m. while hanging out with friends in the backyard of one of their homes. It was just a couple of friends out in the backyard. Scherzen. Candace Scherzen. Thank you, Scrappy. That makes perfect sense. Candace Scherzen, 17, was shot and killed Tuesday at about 8 p.m. It was just a couple of friends out in the backyard, from what we were told, possibly doing a target practice with a pistol. This according to a spokesperson for the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. The kids obviously hadn't been taught maybe the gun safety that they should have been, and ultimately it resulted in Candace's death. Poor girl. I'm so sorry. That's exactly that. Why were kids just out playing with guns? Officials said they are still investigating the death and have not determined whether any charges will be filed. Law enforcement officials have not announced who owned the gun. This remains an open and active investigation, and all parties involved in this horrific tragedy are cooperating at this time. Yeah, they had target practice at school, but weren't they, supervised and shit? I assume they still have target practice at ROTC. We had a very robust ROTC program at my school. Okay, so that's all there is to that story. Tragic. And I wanted to juxtapose that story to this asswipe doing a public relations stunt. In case you're unaware, this is known manly man Lindsey Graham showing off his target practice. In 1994, there was an assault weapons ban. The evidence indicates there was really no change in gun crime at all. Huh, that's funny. He should say that. Interesting. Mr. Graham makes that proclamation. What do you guys think? You already know the answer? We're looking at mass shootings in this graph. We had one really bad year here. Overall, it seems like the federal assault weapons ban worked in preventing mass shootings. See if we can get a second source on this. Northwestern study says that 1994 to 2004, federal assault weapons ban worked. Mass shootings in Atlanta, Georgia, and Boulder, Colorado have once again brought questions of gun control to the fore. The lead author of the study is Lori Ann Post, professor of emergency medicine and medical services at Northwestern University's Feinberg School of Medicine. Post says that what makes her study unique is that it focuses just on mass shootings, whereas previous studies into the effectiveness of the assault weapons ban looked at overall gun deaths. Well, of course, that's going to skew the data. Now, when we're talking about assault weapons, we're clearly talking about preventing mass shootings, correct? The majority of gun deaths are actually suicide. So if you're just looking at overall gun violence, of course the numbers would skew that it wouldn't be effective. That's one of the things I'm not anti-gun, but you need to treat a gun with reverence. Reverence and respect. You know what you're shooting at. You never point a gun at anybody. There's a whole, you know the list. I don't have to go into it. Oh, you want to see the target from? It took me a second. I was trying to think what story we were talking about. I forgot about Lindsey Graham over here shooting his, I think this is an AR-15. And is it just me? Like, if you're going to go shoot an AR-15, why don't you have it on like semi-auto? Why aren't you bursting that motherfucker? Isn't that the point? Fucking, why you? I know if you're wanting to kill something, I mean that's the best way to minimize recoil and shit. But like if you're just at a range, let that motherfucker fly. Feel that power. That's just me though. I don't know. I doubt he knows what he's doing. Fuck, I don't even know what I'm doing. All my gun knowledge comes from video games, so fuck. I don't know shit. Let's talk a little bit more. Oh, really? I thought you could do the semi-auto and do like a 3-round burst kind of thing. Let the motherfucker fly. My bad. See, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm man enough to admit it. Oh, that's semi-auto. My bad. See? Exclusive. A coalition of 22 states led by the Republican Attorneys General of Arizona and Louisiana is urging the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals to again rule against California's controversial attempt to ban high-capacity magazines after the court agreed to reconsider its decision to rule it unconstitutional. California politicians are at it again, convinced that their agendas should override the constitutional rights of the people, said Attorney General Mark Bromwich, a Republican, in a statement announcing the filing in an amicus brief. California passed a ban on magazines of 10 bullets or more in 2016. A ruling by a federal judge that it was unconstitutional was upheld by a 3-judge panel on the Ninth Circuit last year. The court agreed to have an 11-judge panel rehear the case. 22 states have filed an amicus brief in support of the pro-gun rights side, arguing that it violates Americans' Second Amendment rights to bear arms. They say it bans the possession of arms even for self-defense, since the magazines that are banned are integral to some of the most popular firearms. I don't feel like that's something you make an ad populum argument on. 22 states with Republican state attorney generals signed onto the amicus brief include Alaska, Georgia, Indiana, Montana, Ohio, South Dakota, Texas, and West Virginia. Oral arguments begin in June. So, guns is always their all reliable argument. They always fall back on that. They've been hammering home the border, though.
So,
oh shit! This is like they hired a production company to come and film this for them. This is I believe that's John Thune, right? Senator John Thune.
Right now is that we're getting closer to the river, right? The parents are paying the smugglers to have their children smuggled. Thus, the cartels will smuggle the children up to the riverbanks.
We've got Hector from the Border Patrol.
And they'll come into Border Patrol custody. After they come into Border Patrol custody, we'll give them to HHS.
Just so you know, what the GOP senators release new footage of border crisis. This is 100% a Republican PR piece we are watching right now. Just so everybody is aware.
The Human Services. Health and Human Services will now contact the parents that originally paid to have the children smuggled, and HHS will tell the parents, here are your kids.
And I'm almost positive that the Border Patrol, ICE are like fucking rogue agencies, and they're going against the federal government at the moment. So these Border Patrol agents should be punished for participating in this, I assume. How did they get fucking clearance? Or is this, maybe this is a retired Border Patrol agent, something like that.
So essentially, we facilitated the smuggling of these children. We completed that smuggling cycle.
Yep, we're the last mile delivery.
So last week,
Senator James Langford,
these are the two
maybe I got it
children
wrong
that are
there. I think Thune is in here
8-year-olds
somewhere.
and 5-year-old by themselves, right in this road.
So here we
This
go.
column, I've checked them out.
Walking. There you go.
These guys are having a field day. They're making $14 million a day in human trafficking and making probably multiple times that in illicit drugs.
Wait, $14 million a day and they've got illicit drugs? Fuck, I'm in the wrong business. I'm totally thinking about becoming a smuggler right now. I'm gonna go down to the fucking border. Fuck this show.
Is right to our right side, or to our right hand side, and I think what they wanted to do was to see if we would encounter other groups walking along this route.
Well, we're down along the river, Rio Grande, and there are groups coming across the border. We just saw under the bridge where
This is their whole caravan they did earlier in the week,
come
isn't
up
it?
the road here. They've crossed the river and they're coming into the country.
It's a very dangerous trip. A lot of these particularly children are coming from other countries, being exploited by traffickers, and just a really tragic situation which cries out for a solution.
Submarines, tunnels. Dude, watch the documentaries about the tunnels from Mexico. I'm fascinated by that.
Just be very careful, okay? I will. There you go. Thank you. Those are the signs that the
They
children
had like a whole elaborate underground
on the
system.
family unit. It's horrible. It's horrible.
I just cannot imagine putting a child on this journey. I just can't imagine.
It's horrible.
I saw a 2-year-old last night being held by a complete stranger.
Chapo's tunnels are really fucking cool. Like his bathtub came the fuck up.
To turn themselves in. This path is marked so that people will know where to go to find a detention.
They've just got all the chuckle fucks with them on this trip.
There's a loophole in our law that incentivizes people to bring 6-year-old children with them because Biden administration has changed the law so if you got a 6-year-old you can't be deported.
There are literally signs on the ground pointing these migrants in the direction to the Border Patrol agents because they're not running away from the Border Patrol, they're running to the Border Patrol.
Yes, they're wanting to present themselves for asylum.
Enable them to stay in this country, even when they have no legal right to stay in this country. We may be facing, very soon, 250,000 migrants crossing our border every month.
Right, so if we can get as many people down as we can, so we've got a bunch.
Now, just like he gave it away right there. They're not running from Border Patrol agents. They are running to them. But yet his entire argument are these are criminals, right? They have a legal right to request asylum. They do. It's right-wingers are morons. Especially Tom Cotton.
That are talking to us right now.
So there was another light right here, and not smugglers that were bringing down routes.
Hey, so real quick, this is.
You hear them? Those are the smugglers getting ready to bring their people over.
So they really tell you, hey, we're coming?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because they know what's going to happen. We're going to take them away. And
They'll sit here and make fun of us. They'll laugh at us.
Well, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
So the smugglers are on the other side. They're waving flashlights and they're talking. We can hear them.
I don't blame them either. Okay, we saw a piece of this the other
And
day.
we can hear them talking. Matter of fact, we could even yell back and forth at them.
They're saying Viva Biden.
We're on the edge of the Rio Grande.
Oh, and now we get an appearance from John Kennedy.
The lights you see there are smugglers bringing in families and children.
Cracker Kennedy.
They know the change in President Biden's policies. They know that if the child is 6 years old or younger, they will be released into the United States. And you're not going to stop this as long as we practice.
Save the children! What the fuck?
Over there, according to our Border Patrol experts, those are cartel members who are actually shouting. So they're getting ready to smuggle some more folks across.
They are right there.
And they can see the flashlights over there. But the voices we're hearing are likely cartel members here. They're getting paid thousands of dollars per person to bring across the Rio Grande. We're on the train.
Wait, didn't they just say it was like $14 million a day?
I passed probably.
Oh, thousands per person.
A yellow arrow. They literally have stopped building the wall. Instead, now are putting arrows down to direct where the illegals go so they can be apprehended and processed. It's absolutely crazy.
You can read about this, you can see it on the news, but being on the ground here, seeing it, seeing the people, talking to the people, talking to our heroic Border Patrol agents, that's the way you learn. So, Mr. President, Madam Vice President, you need to get down here.
This has been truly extraordinary. It's midnight.
Oh, of
We're
course
on the
not.
banks of the Rio Grande, and across the river, we can hear the sounds.
This is absolute propaganda.
Taunting us, yelling at us. They're exploiting vulnerable women and children. They are smuggling drugs into
I think you're the ones exploiting vulnerable women and children. At this moment in time, right now, you are exploiting vulnerable women and children.
Situation. A great reminder that we've got a broken immigration policy and that the changes that have been made by the Biden administration are contributing mightily to
Pago.
the challenges that these Border Patrol personnel are facing.
Control of the border is the federal government's responsibility, and local landowners, business owners, and
You get the
others
dramatic music in here. This is
stuck with the policies passed in Washington.
And did you see?
And
We
right
didn't
now,
see anything.
what they're
We
telling
didn't
us
see
is those
anything
policies
shocking
are
in
not
this
working.
video.
They're being exploited by the human smugglers who make a lot of money by the head of people they make. that
We
make their way into the
watched some
country.
old crusty white
Humanitarian
folk
crisis, and frankly, this all could have been avoided.
make a little trail through the woods. Shine flashlights. Say there were people yelling at him, but I didn't hear shit. But I could have been talking over it. If they were taunting him, I hope they were taunting him. I would have been. I'd be over on the other side like, hey, look at those dumb fucks. There's Lindsey Graham. There's John Cornyn. There's Dan Patrick. Those are the dumbest fucks alive. Come on. Might as well be a Republican. Joe Manchin went down to the border as well for a photo op because, you know,
Let me
he
just
had to
say,
get in
when I
on the
call this a
action.
Crisis. I'm not blaming the crisis on the present administration of President Biden, the former administration of President Trump. This has been a human crisis for a long, long time.
That's some awesome
I remember
fence
back
sitting
in the
right
80s,
there.
Ronald Reagan talking about how he was going to take care of immigration. It started back then, the dialogue, and it continued ever since. So if you think you can blame a Democrat or a Republican,
To his credit, I think Reagan granted amnesty to a bunch
you
of
can't come
immigrants.
together as Americans and say,
Like
listen,
millions, if I'm not
on our
mistaken.
borders, our neighbors, should we have this type of suffering?
Verify me on that
human
one.
Suffering, and allow, when I say human suffering, not only the conditions in their country because of natural conditions, but of man-made and people-made conditions of the elements of criminal elements. Take
The criminal elements of the CIA? Is that what you're talking about? Is that what you're talking about? Because, like, he's so close. He's approaching the point. Conservatives approaching the point. He's so close. The criminal elements of U.S. foreign policy?
taking advantage of people. It's to their benefit to keep this cycle going. That's their.
That's what I thought.
Plan. That's
You
their
have a
business
number?
model.
It's millions, wasn't it?
We continue to exploit. So they're never going to change.
I want to say like
They don't
30
have to
million.
change it. If we're not willing to change it, trust me, they're not going to. They won't be making money. They'll try
I'm a
to figure a
stoner,
way.
so I might have to
Start
ask
getting in there
sometimes
and
about like, hey,
trying to
verify me on this one.
solve the
I'm
process. And they'll try to
pulling it
figure
out of my
But
ass.
I guarantee you, if people know they can go over to this 1 hour away or one mile away, they'll get there. They'll get there and not have to pay a fortune to do it. So I'm not going to blame on political sides. This is a crisis of human proportion that's been going on for far too long, and it's time for us to end it. Yes, ma'am.
That's all? 100K families, that could be, 3 or 4 people in a family, but still. $3 million. Okay. There was a 3 in there. So I was off. Reagan did indeed. Nearly 3 million people applied for legalization. There were 2 groups of applicants: aliens who'd been unlawfully residing, were legalized, aliens. That's also there. Oh yeah, there were. I think the provisions for seasonal workers came into play in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. They're like, we like cheap fruit and vegetables, so we've got to have migrant workers here. All right, so data has come out. COVID was America's 3rd leading cause of death in 2020, contributing to a 15.9 increase in the death rate from a year earlier, according to the CDC. The disease caused by SARS-CoV-2 was the underlying or contributing cause of 377,000 deaths in the U.S. last year. I think that number is off. We have reason to believe that it's a severe undercount. American Indians, Hispanics, and blacks had the highest rates of death from COVID-19 by ethnicity. The death rate among white Americans was less than half that among blacks and Hispanics. And the vast majority of deaths from COVID-19 were in people aged 65 years and older, who accounted for almost 81% of the deaths from the disease. Yeah. You make a point, but like, once it, like, lowering the flag to half staff, I don't even, meaningless jet. I wish they would do something to prevent more people to die from COVID. Because, I mean, it's looking like the 4th wave is here. Axios reporting that a change in new COVID-19 cases in the past week. See the percentage. Yeah. See if it has it here in the article. I understand what you're saying. They did hold candlelight vigils. They did one after he got elected, and then they did one on the 500K. In his defense, because I mean, we could just at the rate we're going, we just keep the flag at half staff, right? We are down significantly. Are we under 200 or are we under 2K deaths a day? Or are we like 0.5 or something? I wonder why that is. Why would Trump refuse to put the flag at half-mast? Speaking of Trump, we've got an update on Trump. It's a very fun story. It's gonna be a quick one, but you're gonna want to hear it. Coronavirus infections are on the rise yet again all across the U.S. America may be at the beginning of a 4th wave in the pandemic. It will almost certainly be far less deadly than the previous 3. But this persistent failure to contain the virus has real consequences and will only make it harder to put COVID-19 behind us. My God. So they have announced the lineup for Bonnaroo in September. I at least would like to attend Friday, but I'm not so sure that it happens. Just under 1,000 deaths. Hell yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Merkin. I'm glad to see it that low. On average, roughly 63,000 Americans per day were diagnosed with coronavirus infections over the past week. That's a 17% increase from the week before, and echoes the rising caseloads of the pandemic's second wave last summer. Ooh, yeah. Hell yeah, it isn't 3,000. That's like the other day when we were having the conversation about politicians and rape accusations. And I'm like, well, at least it's not 30 rape accusations. The low fucking bar. It was about this time last year that I had a knockdown, drag out fight with somebody on Facebook. And I'm like, look, we're going to have a 9/11 number of people dying. It might not have been this time last year. We're in April. Might have been around May or something. We're going to have like a 9/11 number of people dying every day. This is serious. Oh, no, it's not going to get that bad. There are some positive statistics in this because so many seniors have been vaccinated. 73% have gotten at least one dose. That means this fourth wave is likely to be a lot less deadly than the previous ones. Many states have also prioritized vaccinating people with underlying health conditions, which will also help constrain the increase in severe illness. Yes, but more coronavirus is always a bad outcome, and this fourth wave is a foreseeable, preventable failure that risks dragging out the pandemic and leaving more people at risk in the process. Yes. It is open to media here. I've thought about it. But I was also like, I don't see anybody, so I'm just going to wait until it's open for everybody, which is what, 2 weeks? Also, I've been thinking about, it's April 19th it opens for everybody, I think. April 20th is the 1-year anniversary spectacular. So I thought about getting, my poke on the 420. Filming it with the camera and everything. Making it part of the whole 1-year anniversary spectacular of the Troll Patrol Live, taking place on 4/20, 4 o'clock Eastern Time that day. We're going to celebrate 4/20 all across the country. I understand. I have N95 masks just in case I have to ever go to the ER. I was supposed to sit with my mom in the ER, and I wanted to, or in the ICU, and I wanted to have N95 mask. I want to go to Bonnaroo, so that's why I want to get on getting vaccinated. If it happens. I usually, when I just go out, I wear surgical masks. I got a gigantic box of them, like right when the pandemic first started. Like, I haven't even put a dent in them. The young turds. The young turds. I've not gotten vaccinated yet. That's what we were just talking about. I was thinking about going. It is open for everybody on the 19th. It's open for media where I'm at right now, so I could go and get it if I wanted it. Oh, you can chill here. I've been safe. I've not been exposed to anybody. Yeah, I totally understand. Anytime I have somebody come over for a booty call, like I make them go and they shower down and everything. I make sure they haven't been exposed to anybody else. I take precautions, unlike Sarah Palin, who apparently didn't take precautions. Sarah Palin reveals COVID-19 diagnosis, urges others to wear masks. Gives them an acid bath. Former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin says she tested positive for COVID-19 and is urging people to take steps to guard against the coronavirus. Now, I'm not sure, but I just assumed Sarah Palin was a coronavirus denier. Through it all, I view wearing that cumbersome mask indoors in a crowd as not only allowing the newfound luxury of being incognito, but trust it's better than doing nothing to slow the spread. Palin, the 2008 Republican vice presidential nominee, told People magazine. What's up, Tones? And history will show we masked singers, visitors were masked for being masked. And history will show we masked singer visitors were masked before being masked. Guys, I'm reading a Sarah Palin quote, okay? I'm sorry. And history will show we masked singer visitors were masked before being masked was cool. It was not clear when Palin, 57, tested positive. She told the magazine that other members of her family tested positive as well, and that it started when woke up unable to taste or smell. Now that's actually the AP's article, or Nextstar's article. That was just a grammatical error. And that it started when woke up unable to taste or smell and tested positive for the virus. Or maybe it's still a Palin quote. I don't know. Maybe Palin wrote the fucking thing. Her son Trig, who was born with Down syndrome, is at increased risk from COVID, also tested positive. Dude, sorry, Trig. Like, it's not your fault you have a shithead mom. Palin said she quarantined with Trig and continued to test negative until she started to experience the bizarre symptoms so many others have felt and ultimately tested positive. So, there you go. Sarah Palin, positive with the COVID. Pfizer Biotech says the trial suggests COVID vaccine works against South African variant and is effective after 6 months. So now I take that to mean that this is going to be one of those booster things. It's going to be like a flu shot. We're going to have to get coronavirus vaccinated every year, aren't we? I may be reading that wrong. Pfizer and biotech said Thursday that trials suggest that their vaccine is effective against a coronavirus variant that first emerged in South Africa. Yeah, you're right. That is not encouraging. And while this says it is effective against the South African variant, it's not the South African variant that I'm particularly worried about. Is that Brazilian variant that is particularly potent and more deadly. I haven't read up on any further instances of the double mutant virus that they apparently discovered in the UK. That sounds bad, but double mutant could, everything's a mutation. The Moderna one doesn't work on the Brazilian variant? Ooh. That is not encouraging. The drug makers also said in a statement that 12,000 people involved in their phase 3 trial experienced high levels of protection against COVID-19 6 months after their second dose, with no serious safety concerns. These data also provide the first clinical results that a vaccine can effectively protect against currently circulating variants, a critical factor to reach herd immunity and the end of this pandemic for the global population. Oh, is that it's 70% effective or something like that? I think I saw Something to that effect. The vaccine, developed by the American pharmaceutical giant Pfizer and its German partner BioNTech, received emergency use authorization in December. Now, you were mentioning chuds. You've already been testing yours, haven't you? You've been out to dinner and shit. You've gone on a couple of road trips. Okay, well that's fucking cool. Pfizer works on Brazil, or so they say. I don't know if they've had the chance to test that yet. Or they're thinking it works on Brazil, which I mean, one of the reasons why they were able to develop this so fast is that they've been working on mRNA vaccines for coronaviruses for like 10 years or something like that. So that's why they were able to fucking hone in on the specific strain and everything and make one that's effective for COVID. I thought you'd been to Asheville a couple of times. My bad. Oh, okay. That's the British strain. Well, please be careful on your trip to South Carolina. Still mask up. I'm sure you know this. While most of us are anxious enough to be fully vaccinated and back in the world, which if I got the vaccination, I'd start wearing a cloth mask out. Just keep your spit to yourself. Asheville counts as a little day trip. That's why I wouldn't think that they've had a real chance to test out the Brazilian strain. But yeah, I would downgrade. If you're vaccinated, downgrade to a cloth mask or something. Still about keeping your spit to yourself. I tried to tell Maskless Moses all about that. I tried to break it down in simple terms. He didn't want to hear it. Well, most of us are anxious enough to be fully vaccinated and back in the world to consider hanging out at clinics at the end of the day to beg for spare shots. What? This is a weirdly written article. I'm on Vice, but I'm on one of the like sub Vice articles. I'm gonna lick your asshole when you come down here. While most of us are anxious enough to be fully vaccinated and back in the world to consider hanging out at clinics at the end of the day to beg for spare shots, others are considering avoiding getting the vaccine altogether, according to one new study. Oh, you can use it as a visual aid. What, shut up about vaping? One survey carried out this month out of the U.S. found that that almost a quarter of young adults said they would never get the vaccine. Oof. In fact, despite the okay boomer stereotype of anti-vaxxer ideology, in the study's generational breakdown, Gen Z and millennials were more likely to avoid getting vaccinated than baby boomers. Now, I can believe that. I mean, like, when you're talking about people like, my mom used to show off her polio shot. So I don't think, they know how, like, she knew how valuable that shot was in her arm. That's how recent polio was. So, I mean, I totally can understand the breakdown of the numbers. Do you need a visual aid of me eating your ass? Seriously, that's why the 6 feet rule. The news comes as parts of the U.S. open their vaccination program to younger adults in an attempt to return to normalcy. Yesterday, for instance, Governor Cuomo announced that all New Yorkers over the age of 16 would be eligible for a vaccine starting next Tuesday. So, see you next Tuesday, kiddos. Now we have video of an apparent anti-masker getting attacked. So this should be fun.
Isolate yourselves. Wear your masks. Social distance. Just trust the narrative. You've never been lied to about anything. The government loves you. You're all doing a great job complying with the narrative. There's definitely not a psychological operation happening when you're...
It's a good argument for him to make, but I don't know that it works as effectively over a bullhorn. Like, I don't know that people detect your sarcasm as much. Like, if they only hear one little part of it, they're like, yeah, dude. Yeah, wear a mask. Yeah, right on. Ah!
You're convinced of a reality that's based on fear that has nothing to do with what's actually...
Oh, he's this. Oh, shit.
Hey, get out of here. You're insane, bro. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. You're insane, bro. Dude, you're
Honestly, I think he's probably the sane one.
insane. Away from this guy, kids. Dude, get out of here, man. I'm gonna kick your head. We're trying to wake people up because you've been psyoped. We love you, people.
Oh, shit. He's back.
You're literally been psyoped. Wow. Okay, are you happy now? Are you
Yes,
happy?
yes. I love it.
Over here. You've been psyoped, brother. You've been psyoped. That's what a psychological...
Wait, he's trying to wake people up. So are you saying he's woke? Is that it? I thought you people were anti-woke. I can't keep up with right-wing logic. We gotta watch that again, don't we?
Dude, you're insane. Away from this guy, kids. Dude, get out of here, man. I'm gonna kick your head. We're trying to wake people up because you've been psyoped. We love you, people. But you've been psyoped. You're literally been psyoped.
Literally been psyoped.
Okay, are you happy now? Are you happy? Trying to wake you people up over here. You've been psyoped, brother. You've been psyoped. That's what a psychological operation is.
What?
Isolate yourselves.
What is a psychological operation? What? Yeah, he might not be as happy now. I believe he's been charged. But fuck, it's worth it. A Canadian driver's anti-mask tirade, complete with megaphone, was unceremoniously cut short after an angry bystander shattered his window with a bicycle. According to the police report, the cyclist is being recommended for charges of mischief and assault with a weapon. Justin doesn't encourage any kind of law breaking at all. I was hoping we would find out who the bicyclist is. Alexander Losarev is the other guy. News over here. Like the most recent article. Still doesn't seem like they have an identity. So I don't believe we know his identity to be able to give to his legal fund. But we'll certainly pass that along if we find it out. All right. So content warning, especially pet lovers, because this one's a hard one. We were talking about fucking cops killing dogs last night. I hate to have to do this story. Deputy kills aggressive dog in North Fort Myers. Owner says the dog only barked. The deputy said he showed up at a home on Old Bridge Road and was greeted by an aggressive dog. Look at that little puppy. That little baby there's no video of it, don't worry. I wouldn't be able to watch that. I feel bad about the fact that I can sit here and watch all kinds of other horrible videos, but like I can't watch animal videos. No, you can stick with us, Curiouser. I don't want to watch a video of it. I can't do it. The dog's owner said that their black lab pit bull mix, Coco, only barked at the deputy and never thought the deputy was in danger. The owner believes the shooting wasn't justified. The LCSO confirmed the deputy was responding to an animal call, but did not give any other details. Here is the official statement. The deputy observed the dog leave the yard and charge at an unidentified male in an aggressive manner and threatening manner. I know the way puppies are. I've seen a puppy a lot like that one. I'm doubting it was probably lunging in a I want loves and hugs and kisses and I want to slobber on your face manner. Not aggressive. It might have been aggressive. And aggressively giving fucking lovins and kisses and wanting to boop its snoot on you. The neighboring dog is a Karen and called the 911 or called the K9 unit. Yes, probably. I get all fucked up here. The deputy approached the home and spoke to the dog's owner from his car. He didn't even get out. What a dickwad. He advised the owner to place the dog on a leash to avoid further attacks from the dog. When the deputy exited, he hadn't shot the dog yet. Okay. When the deputy exited his patrol car to continue the conversation with the unidentified male, the dog left the home's property and charged at the deputy with its mouth open, growling in an aggressive manner. No, it's probably like fucking puppies do. The deputy, in fear for his safety, fired 2 shots. Pussy baby bitch boy. Exactly right. All right, so this one is wild, and I don't know all the details yet. Looks like he just said that and got out or something. You know the way cops are. And they look for any reason to fire off. I'm either too stoned or not stoned enough for this. I don't know what. I think I'm gonna pack another bolt. This is fucking Friday. They look for any reason to fire off their fucking guns. By the way, we're gonna finish off with some religious stories tonight since it is Easter weekend. But of course it's me. I'm wearing a ghost shirt. It's going to be fun. I can't... It's just a puppy. I can't imagine it was threatening in any way. Somebody needs to treat these cops like fucking Barney Fife. They're not allowed to have loaded guns on them. They have to keep their bullet in their shirt pocket. They only get one. They only get one bullet, and they have to keep it in their shirt pocket. They can't keep it in their gun. That should be the way we treat cops with guns. Talk to your doctor if Jesus has risen for more than 4 hours. Amen to that. One time I did a show at a bar and there was a really rowdy crowd. And I think I was the last one to go on, next to last. One of those. I usually took the next to last spot. And like the show had gone completely to shit. And I walk up and I'm like, I look like Jesus, but I don't even think I can save this night. And I couldn't. That is also a Patreon exclusive. I've got all my bombs, all my stand-up comedy bombs that I have filmed on Patreon. Feed us the Jesus. As I said, I'm gonna look if I can find Passion of the Christ in 4K. I'll probably partake upon that. International kidnapping case gets heated during virtual court hearing. Let's watch the video on this.
A local custody battle that turned into an international incident involving the FBI. Nearly 3 years ago, investigators say a father kidnapped his son and took him to Lebanon. Now that child is back with his mom in Tampa, and the father is facing criminal charges. And he was in court today where things got heated when the father made a shocking request. Fox 13's Gloria Gomez explains.
I'm not taking substantive argument.
Your Honor, if I may be heard.
Fears, tears, and accusations were all part of a contentious custody hearing involving mother Rochelle Smith and the child's father, Ali Salame.
Your Honor, then I'm going to object on the record. I'm going to object on the record because this is factually not correct.
As noted, I want to hear fully and fairly from both sides.
And the couple has quite a history. Their custody battle turned...
You are correct. And if you'll notice, that was a young black woman that he was talking to like that. So I'm quite upset because usually, you know, I'm pretty anti-authority, right? So I'm all about, like, if a judge is snooty and shit, you know, putting them in their place. But, like, that looked like a crusty old white man just being completely disrespectful to a young black lady for no reason. But we don't know the whole story. Let's find out what he was getting heated over.
Fox 13's Gloria Gomez explains.
I'm also anti-stupidity.
Your Honor,
We're on the same page, Scrappy.
Fears, tears, and accusations were all part of a contentious custody hearing involving...
Because here's the like, I'm assuming that's the lawyer for the dude. Good way to get locked up if, you know, you're there in the courtroom. They can just grab the bailiff and shit. If you're sitting in your living room, it's a little different. I mean, I guess they could still issue an arrest warrant and go get your ass.
Your Honor, then I'm going to object on the record. I'm going to object on the record because this is factually not correct.
No, that's her attorney.
And fairly from both sides.
And the couple has quite a history. Their custody battle turned into an international incident a few years ago when Salome was accused of kidnapping his son Dexter.
That kind of changes things. The the guy that was yelling at the judge was her attorney.
Heartbroken.
Let's
explains.
I'm not taking substantive argument.
Your Honor, if I may be heard.
Fears, tears, and accusations were all part of a contentious custody hearing involving mother Rochelle Smith and the child's father, Ali Salome.
That is true, too.
Object on the record. I'm going to object on the record because this is factually not correct.
As noted, I want to hear fully and fairly from both sides.
And the couple has quite a history. Their custody battle turned into an international incident a few years ago when Salome was accused of kidnapping his son Dexter and taking him to Lebanon. Heartbroken and desperate to get her son back, Rochelle went public with her pleas for help.
I'm here to beg for any and all help to get my little boy returned.
Rochelle even flew to D.C. to meet with Florida senators and members of the Lebanese consulate.
Go to the elevator.
And it worked. Dexter was returned to the U.S. and to his mother's arms. Ali Salome was sent to jail on kidnapping charges. But now his lawyers are trying to get a county judge to allow him supervised visits with his son. Rochelle's attorney, Patrick LeDuc, blasted the idea.
Everything that you just heard is 100% wrong. Wrong.
LeDuc argued the judge doesn't have the authority to grant that. Right now, Rochelle has full custody of Dexter and wants to keep it that way. And for now, it will.
I'm not taking substantive argument.
Your Honor, if I may be heard.
Gloria Gomez, Fox 13 News.
We still never got what he was upset about. That really didn't give us much information. So
both Pasco and Manatee School District.
So he's opposed. I mean, he's her attorney. That's the mother. He could have been a cunt. I don't know. We don't know what's going on here. Don't tempt me. I'll do that shit. That's the thing, is I'm into that kind of shit. I would sit here and watch 2 hours. I don't think that it's a product I could sell to other people. I'd sit here and just watch one court case. I'm sick like that. I debated about streaming the George Floyd. Now, apparently, I got taken down for promoting a violent criminal organization, which I assume was the police. Oh yeah, not a custody battle, no. But I'm sick like that. I'm into that kind of shit. That was my favorite thing to do when I was a news reporter, was go to the courtroom. Because like if I didn't have a press conference to go to, or I didn't have an obligation, I didn't have another story I was working on, I just went down to the courthouse and dicked around. One, there's girls that work in all the offices, and they all knew me. They all knew I was working for the radio station and shit. There's some cute gals. I go in there looking all nice in my suit. Oh yeah, I got this when I saw him the first time in a club in Chattanooga. It was awesome. The second time they were opening for Iron Maiden, and when you see a band open for first of all, it was in an arena, so not as cool as being in an intimate little club. Aw. Oh yeah, Papa Emotes. It's about time for some new Ghost to drop. I believe they're teasing some shit. I believe he's been putting some cryptic videos out. It's about that time. All right. It's about time that we watch a attempted carjacking of an 82-year-old. I think I got that right. Apparently it is wild. Doesn't look like we have sound. It's a security video. You say he shouldn't be behind a wheel, but he just tackled that motherfucker. Oh, so he's got the keys, so it's usually as an attempted carjacking. He took him down. He took him like a double leg takedown. Oh, he got him from behind. He got him from the waist there. He took him down. 82 fucking years old. I mean, there's the South Park episode about the old people driving. Like, I kind of agree. So this took place in Atlanta. Dramatic video shows a man fighting back against a carjacking. The incident happened on March 11th around 2:30 p.m. at a gas station. 82-year-old man pumping gas. Police said the suspect pointed the gun at the victim. The attacker ran off. He wasn't able to get the car to start. The victim suffered minor injuries in the fight and was treated by EMS at the scene. Police are still searching for the suspect. He's believed to be around 17 or 18 years old. Wow. All right, you ready for some Trump news? Trump news. Trump news. Trump owes somebody money. As if that's breaking news. Donald Trump owes $130 for a McDonald's tab. This, according to his ex-bodyguard. Donald Trump loves him some McDonald's, but ain't so keen on paying for it, at least according to a former bodyguard who claims he still owed $130. Kevin McKay says he worked as Trump's bodyguard for 5 years, and one time in 2008, after visiting one of his golf courses in Scotland, their convoy of 6 Range Rovers hit up Mickey D's before flying home. The thing is, McKay says Trump didn't have any UK currency, so he asked me if I could front him the cash. Not McDonald's, McKay. McKay, McDonald's. It's understandable that you got confused. McKay says he did, and he ordered 20 cheeseburgers and fries and around 10 to 15 Cokes. McKay told the Daily Mail Trump ate his usual fave, 2 cheeseburgers with fries and a Diet Coke. McKay says $130 at the time was kind of a big deal to him, especially because he only made around $2,700 a month while working for Trump. Oh, it's okay. Did you do it while we've been here? Like, what time did you do it? You seemed pretty cogent. McKay says he should have asked for the money, but kept blowing him off. And Trump never brought it up either. Trump's McDonald's obsession is widely known. You'll recall he served a McDonald's buffet to Clemson, their national football championship. All right, so this next one coming to us. Remember the biology lesson that Senator John Kennedy gave us last night. A man has a penis and a woman has a vagina. Remember that. Baby born with 3 penises makes medical history. Good things come in threes. An Iraqi boy, no doubt, etched his name into the Phallic Hall of Fame after he was born with a whopping trio of penises. A whopping trio of peni. Is it penis or peni? I've never known anybody with 3 balls, but I've known somebody with 1 ball. It's dicks. Peens. The child was born with 3 peens. To the best of our knowledge, this is the first reported case with 3 penises or triphalia. Triphalia. Peenies. Oh, peenies. I don't know. Triphalia. Triphalia. That is a cool word. This is according to Dr. Shakur Salim Jabali in a study on the treble-membered tyke published in the International Journal of Surgery Case Reports. This has been a very well-written article. Props to the New York Post. The baby boy, a Kurd from Duak, was originally brought to the hospital by his parents when he was 3 months old due to swelling in the scrotum. However, when he arrived, doctors observed that he had some extras. One 2-centimeter member sprouting near the root of his primary penis, and another 1 centimeter long schlong situated under his sack. Allow me to read that again. When he arrived, doctors observed that he had some extras. One 2-centimeter member sprouting out near the root of his primary penis, and another 1 centimeter long schlong situated under his sack. So I'm not exactly sure the other one will be much use to him if it's under his sack. Because like if it was 3 like the heads of Cerebus kind of shit, you could make a hell of a lot of money in some porn. The Hydra-esque anomaly was particularly mysterious as the child hadn't been exposed to drugs in the womb and didn't have a family history of genetic aberrations. Alas, it seems that the boy's potential future as the world's first 3-pronged porn star was nipped in the bud. Since 3 willies additional phalluses didn't have urethras, the tube that urine passes through, doctors decided to surgically remove those 2. Since 3 willies additional phalluses didn't have urethras, the tube that urine passes through, the doctors decided to surgically remove those 2. Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. Fortunately, the operation went swimmingly and the formerly triphallic tot was deemed problem-free during a follow-up appointment a year later, per the case report. A similar instance of triplet nether regions made headlines in India in 2015, but couldn't be verified as it wasn't documented in a medical journal. I don't want to imagine it. It is dealing with the subject tactfully and with a wit and grace. Usually the New York Post is absolute dirt, but my God. Also, I checked to make sure this was published on April the 2nd, not April the 1st. I'm pretty sure this actually happened. But I've been fooled a couple of times on this show. Something that I can't believe actually happened was the fact that Christians got all upset over the Lil Nas X video. Oh, it's totally not impossible. And also, it said, it was the first known occurrence. I wouldn't doubt that it's happened before. I'm not fact checking that shit. No. That's how you get a list of shit that's wild that you want to watch on the Pornhub, right? With Matt Gaetz. So this is one of my favorite pastors to critique.
Okay, I need to say a little bit about this Lil Nas X situation. You know, this past weekend, we kind of inadvertently walked into a media firestorm because...
I can't remember what he was originally... There was something that kind of put him on the map about 3 or 4 years. And I can't remember... He's a huge bigot. Oh, yeah, we're going to make fun of this motherfucker. But there was something he went viral for a couple years ago. But this is Pastor Greg Locke out of Nashville, I believe.
I said something about the fact that this was wrong and this was evil and demonic and filled with demonism and all of that. And, of course, the right-wing watch got a hold of it. And in that 30-second clip, I guess Lil Nas X decided that he was going to retweet it and said, I'm sampling this. And so, you know, hundreds of people made memes out of it and started putting...
Yes, I didn't even know about this. Holy shit, we're gonna go get the whole thing here. Oh, I'm absolutely sure he was an insurrection, but he went viral for something long before that. Dude's Twitter game is on point. This is March 28th when this happened, so we gotta go back a couple of days. Dude tweets a lot. Also, like, he's really popular right now, so of course he should be tweeting a lot. Capitalize on that fame, bro. Ooh, there could have been something in his divorce. But no, I want to say he had a hot take on something. I wish I had a Twitter so I could follow this motherfucker. Was it regarding Charlottesville? A video posted by Mount Juliet pastor discussing racism has gone viral. When a black man pulled up to ask him if he was affiliated with the church. Blah, 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 blah. Is this the video? No, that's just his Facebook page. Yeah, but he definitely had a rant that went viral. We are in a pandemic and there's a mass shooting every week, but y'all gathering in a church to discuss shoes.
97s have been revamped by collaborators with the underworld in mind, coming in a limited edition stock of
I thought it was at the bottom too, but it just went to his Facebook page, so I gave up. I might have missed it. Yeah, it just says to visit Pastor Locke's page on Facebook. They might have taken the video down because, you know, violate their terms of service. I don't know that I've seen this. Yeah, let's watch this here. Thank you, Scrappy.
male here at the church, and a black gentleman pulled up in our intersection here, and he said, "Hey, do you have anything to do with this church?" And I said, "Well, yes, sir, I'm the pastor." He said, "Oh, the pastor. Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Yes, sir, you can." He said, "Do you allow black people to come to this church?" And to be honest with you, I was a little floored by the question. And I said, "Yes, sir. We have dozens and dozens and dozens of precious black folks in our church." I said, "We're Global Vision. We have all different backgrounds and races and ethnics and cultures in our church." I said, "You are more than welcome. We would love to have you and your family at any time." And he said, "That's wonderful to hear. I'd love to visit sometime." And he asked a little bit about the church and the service times and all of that. And then he said this: "We've had a hard time in this area finding a church where we can fit in. We just don't seem to think people want us there." And I'm telling you, that's despicable. You know, the Bible talks about the fact that racism is so evil, it's so wicked. And the fact that that dear gentleman would even have to ask on behalf of himself and his family if a black man can come to a church with a white pastor, that's absolutely disgusting. I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, red and yellow, black and white, they're all precious in His sight. Any church,
they love saying that
would ever be selective on the type of people that it ministers to ought to close down, because it's a coffee-drinking social club. It's not a local church. The local church is for everybody. The gospel is for everybody. It's not an exclusive club. Go into the world and preach the gospel to every creature. So it doesn't matter what color you are, what creed you are, what your background is. As far as I'm concerned, the body of Christ is full of every race you could ever imagine, and the local church ought to be as well. So I think it's despicable that churches would turn people away because of the color of their skin. We don't have a skin problem. We have a sin problem. And I have a Savior named Jesus that can fix that real quick.
Since he's gone viral over that, he's gotten attention, and now he's gone hard right wing. Let's listen to his rant about Lil Nas X.
All kind of, little ditties to it, and some of them were pretty cute, to be honest with you. And of course, they came out and said,
"Yeah, that wasn't exactly what I was expecting."
It was utter racism in the message. And I don't know when calling out Satanism became racism. I mean, have you seen the video? We're talking about actual satanic emblems, satanic overtones. This is what little 6 and 7 and 10-year-old boys and girls are watching. You have to understand something. This has nothing, from my perspective, this has nothing to do with a man's skin color or his sexual preferences. This is Satanism. The guy has a drop of blood in a pair of Nike shoes, which, by the way, Nike has sued his organization over because of
apparently they've halted the sale of them.
Less than 1 minute. Miley Cyrus was wearing something the other day in a video. They sold in less than 1 minute. Nike wants nothing to do with this because this was utter demonism. This is open Satanism. Pentagram, upside down crosses, the devil, Luke 10:38, I beheld Satan.
So, but I thought they were Nikes. I thought they were, because we read the story the other night. It was like, it was like a commissioned artist, did his version of this style of Nike. I thought that's what happened. But they have the Nike swoosh. If they're not Nikes, Nike can definitely sue for, infringement on their copyright, trademark, whatever the fuck. Because the shoes are apparently modified Nikes, the company didn't appreciate its brand being associated with the human blood and the devil. The company confirmed Monday that it's filed a trademark claim, and wants it known that it's that this isn't officially sanctioned by Nike. That's why, they were commissioned by an artist, right? Yeah, I think they are Nikes, but then some dude took them and made them so technically they would be a repurposed work if an artist was to take a pair of Nikes, do something different with them. That's getting into an interesting legal argument there. Made them into yikes. Anyway, Locke, what, you got anything else dumb to say?
Satan falling from heaven like a lightning bolt. This is just absolutely in your face. We've never seen it on this level before, and yet now all of a sudden I'm the racist bigot because I called it out. This has nothing to do with racism, okay? This has everything to do with spirituality. You're going to tell me that 60% of the churches in America are still closed, but this is cool? We have to mask up and socially distance, but this is cool? A guy
Do you think maybe he made up the story about the black person coming by his church? And that racism was just a topic of conversation at the time? We're fresh off of Charlottesville and everything the year before. And he's trying to capitalize on it. I don't put anything past these sleazy motherfuckers.
On a screen, getting it on with the devil, okay? With the devil, for Pete's sake, ladies and gentlemen. This is unbelievable.
The literal devil.
Ridiculous. This is beyond any level.
A man is bitching about somebody giving a lap dance to a devil. Do you know what's beyond ridiculous? That this motherfucker actually believes in a devil. You know, that was a meme that went around. I shared that out on Facebook. Hold on, I'll go grab it. Like there. Now, is everybody happy? Everybody got a lap dance. And my reverend friend chimed in and like, no, not until I get mine. That's why I shared out the salty pastor the other day. And somebody commented like, "Whoa, that wasn't what I was expecting." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right. I should have said something. He's my friend. It's not a religious where is this meme?" Maybe I post a lot. That's why I had to scroll so far back. There you go. There. Is everybody happy? You know, I want to say I watched a video. I don't think it was an article. I think it's something I heard while I was cleaning. I don't think it was something I read. I watched a video on YouTube that when they did the Social Security cards, they were like, they wouldn't put the 666 all together, and that they were very careful about doing anything with churches to alarm the evangelicals. So this isn't anything new. By God, I'll do it. Don't fucking Monday night, I'll Photoshop it. There's only like one fucking picture of Muhammad too. Believe me, this isn't like I haven't broached this topic. I think the first thing when I hear about that fucking controversy, I didn't look up what Muhammad looked like. I don't give a shit. Let him come chop my head off. I want the controversy. If they get all upset by me, I want it. I want it. I want it. No, Scrappy, I'll do it. I'll Photoshop it. It's not I'll have to like take Muhammad and put him on something else though, because the photo isn't conducive to getting a lap dance. I have to put him on somebody else's body. No, dude, if I go to the trouble to Photoshop that picture, you better tell everybody I fucking did it and get everybody upset with me. Let the right-wingers know that I did it because of free speech, and then they'll all flock to my stream. All right, I won't do it. I will do it. I live in Alabama. Are they gonna come to Alabama and chop my head off? Seriously? I think of all the places living. Of all the places in the world that you could be safe having a fatwa declared on you, I believe Alabama is probably top of that list. I live right, what's it, Daily Stormer? Is that the Nazi organization? Like, it's right down the road. It's about an hour away. I went out in the county one time and I saw an honest to God Nazi. I looked at Sparkles. I'm like, that's an iron cross on his arm, isn't it? Oh my God, that's the Aryan. Is it an eagle or whatever the fucking bird is? It was on his neck. I'm like, oh my God, it's an honest to God fucking Nazi I saw in the wild. So if I ever feel safe, okay, I will not Photoshop Muhammad.
Of anything that we have ever seen, and yet guess what? They're like, oh, it's okay. This is good. This is wholesome. This is educational. This is indoctrination from the word go. Okay.
Listen, I'm the Imperial Eagle. Okay, cool. So my friends ate that video up. I don't think anybody called it wholesome, educational, or anything fucking like that. You're indoctrination.
This is educational. This is indoctrination from the word go. Okay, you got Joe Biden saying that we may or may not be able to have, socially distanced, mask-wearing parties on 4th of July in our backyards, and yet you have three lesbians
Joe Biden in
this at the Grammys, and there's no social distancing there, and so nobody's decrying this. But here's the problem: when somebody like myself with a platform does,
it was hilarious that like a lot of the artists wore masks, give off, the good impression and everything. And then, 3 people made out. But hey, I'm going to do butt stuff with Curiouser.
Because they have to change the narrative. Because the narrative now has to be, oh, he's calling out Lil Nas X because he's a racist bigot. No, I'm calling him out because he's an open Satan worshiper. And
Lil Nas X equals Satan.
Thing. So I don't know why everybody in America is not just unbelievably in an uproar about this whole thing. So I don't have anything to apologize for because I love God and hate the devil. And I'm not going to support the devil. That's all there is to it.
Well, sir, I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work. All right, finishing up here on this Good Friday. Christian minister sues Pelosi Harris for access to Capitol grounds for Good Friday. Reverend Patrick Mahoney claims he was denied a request to hold a prayer vigil. A Presbyterian minister is suing House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Vice President Kamala Harris, the U.S. Capitol Police Board, and the Senate Sergeant at Arms, claiming that the continued presence of a fence blocking off the area surrounding the Capitol is violating his First Amendment rights. Boy, howdy, don't you look stupid today. Reverend Patrick Mahoney says in his complaint filed on Tuesday in federal court, he has been trying to hold a prayer vigil for Good Friday on the sidewalk near the lower western terrace of the Capitol, but authorities denied his request. Mahoney claims that he has held many similar events at the same location in the past, including last year when he worked with Capitol Police to make sure the event complied with COVID-19 restrictions. Yeah, what's the worst that could happen? I get plowed by a car. Usually getting plowed is not a bad thing. I don't kink shame anyone. These acts by defendants have effectively created a no-speech zone in one of the most important public forums in the nation. The area around the Capitol has been fenced off, and the National Guard has been present in the area following the violent protest that took place on January the 6th. Mahoney said that the incident was part of the inspiration for the vigil, stating in the lawsuit that it is for the express purpose of beseeching God's healing from the divisiveness and anxiety lingering over our nation since the tragic events of January the 6th. Sir, I'm pretty sure that most of the people there at the Capitol would tell you that they were Christian. An email from Capitol Police to Mahoney obtained by Fox News said that the area where the minister wanted to hold the vigil, I've had trouble with that word tonight, was restricted, and therefore his permit request could not be processed. As an alternative, a police lieutenant said Mahoney could apply to hold the vigil at a sidewalk area that Mahoney told Fox News was quite far from where I wanted to be. Beseech God for healing of divisiveness and then sue Joe Biden. Or Nancy here. Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris. Mahoney's lawsuit was brought on his behalf by the Center for American Liberty, which I'm pretty sure never takes the side of liberty. So it is Easter weekend. If you're into that kind of shit, I hope you guys enjoy it. I was hoping Echoplex would be back on. What the hell? I hope everything is okay with producer Dave. I haven't talked to him much the last few days. Oh, they're on in 40 minutes. Oh, my bad. I need to start going longer on Friday night so I can raid them. I have never raided Dirtbag. Let's raid Dirtbag. I don't even know who he is. Let's find out. So if you're on Twitch, you guys are going over to Dirtbag. Awesome. He's good people. He seems like my kind of person. He's got a really cool Nickelodeon shirt on. If you're on Twitch, I'm sending you over to Dirtbag. Check out Echoplex Media later. I might pop in and say hey. If you are going to be partaking upon Easter festivities this weekend, shalom, or whatever the fuck they say, shlong. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sag. I'm Justin Freakin. We will see you Monday night on the Troll Patrol. Live.